brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me. Ask the Paul, where we rise and don't fall.
Welcome back to another episode of Baxter's Buzz. I am your host, Baxter E. Hall. Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my frequency. Enter at your own risk. Now, today I have a special guest with me. She is the founder and CEO of Real Change RN Consulting. She's a registered nurse, a Maxwell Leadership Certified Trainer, which is really cool to me, by the way, a facilitator and coach, helping people sort of realize their potential and passions. Jessica Bush, welcome to Baxter's Buzz.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for the invite. It's great to be here.
No, thank you. I have to just start with our conversations since we first connected have all been like amazing. And there's I'm not selfish in the way of like I don't want to keep it to myself. I hope that typically if I'm getting some value from folks, that I'm hoping that other folks will too. So I'm hoping the audience, and I'm sure that they will sort of glean, a number of insights from you, your energy, and your perspective. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And Baxter, you have been just an inspiration to me as well. So anything that I can do to be with you, I'm in.
All right. All right. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, we are recording for the month of March and Women's History Month. Um, so I want to really start the conversation by asking you, when you think about women's history, like what does that mean to you, and what are some of the things that come to mind?
Yeah, so I'm a nurse by trade. And of course, the mother of nursing to us is Florence Nightingale. I don't know how much you know about her, but she was in the war, and she started this idea that, hey, if you wash your hands in between patients, you decrease their risk of infection. It's like this novel idea that ended up saving thousands of soldiers just from something as simple as washing your hands. And that was so long ago. And today, we still audit people here in the hospital to make sure that they're washing their hands because of how profound it is and simple to help people stay healthy. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. I'm glad somebody figured it out, you know. It's the whole like, it's the same thing I'm trying to teach my kids. It's like there's a difference between like being clean and like being like disinfected, right? Like you may not be able to see it, but you still need to wash your hands, like even if you don't see anything on your hands, right?
It's so, it's something that, made a big difference in the field of nursing. And a lot of women have really been profound leaders in my field. And so I think of Kristen Swanson and her caring and compassion ideals, and how she helped us to establish what nursing looks like. There are so many women who have been so profound with their studies, with their research, with their movement, and mostly with their voice. Just standing up and saying, this is something to consider. What about, XYZ? And not just allowing people to say no and then to stay silent, but to continue to stand and to rise and to fight for what their heart's convictions were. And those are the things that inspire me as a woman to keep going in my pursuit for my business.
I love that. And I was reading, um it'll come to me, but there's this like a thought of or theory of like social intelligence, right? So we talk about, IQ and EQ. And the point of the social intelligence was it was about sort of, centuries ago when things were being first discovered, there were some incredibly intelligent people out there, but they had bad social skills.
Right.
They weren't very well liked. And so there were folks that came after them that found things that these folks had already found, that got famous because for the same ideas, because they were delivered in maybe a better manner. And I think about um, women in this country, all over the world, being marginalized in general. And I think about, you talk about being steadfast with ideas and theories, and saying, hey, this is, and the importance of sort of like standing flat-footed, having conviction around these ideas that not only can help just the people in these immediate sort of circles of these four walls, but just, you know, you know, mankind. And if it wasn't for those trailblazers being steadfast, they could have probably easily been just kind of dismissed and overlooked, right?
Absolutely. And that's so funny that you brought up the EQ quotient, because that's something that we've been working on and creating some study modules for our clients, is understanding EQ and having that self-awareness and social awareness and self-management and social management, and how that affects your ability to perceive the world around you, interact with the world around you, make a difference in the world around you. And I was reading some research, and they had said that executives have a higher EQ than an IQ in 2023.
Mm,
And so that the ability to relate to people is something that's more sought after than the ability to have the contextual knowledge. So people are becoming a priority again, and I'm excited about that, because that's where my heart lies. The end of the day, what did you do for somebody today? How did you make a difference in their life? Because as you add value to people, it brings value back to you. And then your heart becomes alive with purpose.
yeah.
And it's this amazing friendship that you can create connections and build rapport, build something that can last and have meaning into your next chapter of life.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. We were talking offline. I had the honor of uh, speaking to a third grade class at Upper Elementary School in Ferndale, Michigan. Shout out to Ferndale and all of its graduates and residents and all that good stuff. But one of the things I talked to them about was every day we have this wonderful opportunity, and sometimes we may take it for granted. We're putting things off. We have to straddle this line between sort of planning, but then also really um, trying to win today, be at our best today, add value today, like deliver something, help change, take a step in a direction to improve your life and improve others' lives. And no day should really be taken for granted. And we all are guilty of it from time to time.
That's normal, because sometimes you don't feel your best, you don't want to, but I think that's where you start to build character, is when you do it anyway, when you choose the higher road anyway, when you're scared, but you do it afraid. You keep going, because I'll tell you, there's nobody who is successful who gave up, right? You have to choose and create that mental mindset to be steadfast, to be a soldier in your own army, because there's nobody that is going to create success for you more than you,
That's
right?
right. That's right. Um, man, so um I don't know how the introduction, the person who connected us, I, I'm not sure what happened, but I may have been referring to one of the John Maxwell books that I was reading, or maybe even before that, she may have said, you need to meet Jessica. I'm not sure, but I'm a big fan of John Maxwell. Tell me about your connection to to John and sort of how you kind of became this certified trainer for the John Maxwell. Is it the John Maxwell Academy?
Yeah, so it's Maxwell Leadership.
Okay.
And I was looking for a mentor, Baxter. I know that we have to have people that we can watch and learn and glean from. And I was looking, who would a good mentor be? And I was searching, I was looking to be certified as a coach, and there were a lot of opportunities. But the one thing that stood out to me about John Maxwell was his leadership stance, his devotion to godly principles, and his way of relating to people that made them feel special. I got an opportunity to meet John, work with John. I've served on some mission trips with John, and he is the real deal. He's somebody who just walks up to you, gives you a hug, asks you how you're doing, checks in with you, and he cares. And that was something that really struck me. And I says, wow, this is something that I can aim to be.
Yeah.
I have a lot of growing to do. I'm always looking to grow, but this is what I want to reproduce. And so it was really him and what he stood for that attracted me. But more than that, after looking into what Maxwell Leadership was, I realized this is something that gives me the tools in my business to be successful. He allows us to use his leadership books, his leadership strategies, his team, to really go forth and to change the world. That's one of his big missions right now, is going around the world and implementing simple things like values, bringing values to schools, bringing values to business, bringing values to people, and helping them understand, what are these little filters that we use every day to make decisions with? And are we living our values? When we go home at night, are we comfortable with the decisions that we made, and why or why not? So it's something that's so simple, but yet so profound. And the opportunity to have access to that information, in addition to 85 other resources, is something you just can't say no to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a simple concept, but not easy to sort of implement, right?
Exactly.
In theory, you're like, oh, of course. But the old folks say it's more than a notion, right? It may sound good, but there's some real work that needs to be done in order to really identify, what are your values? Like, how do you want to go about, like, move around this world? And is it the way that you want to be seen? Are your actions consistent with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And something that we do with leaders is my heart is to equip leaders to serve their people, and being able to identify what their leadership strategy is, and realizing that that is rooted in their core value system. And once they can understand what their core value system is, then they're able to be real. And real to me is relational, empathetic, authentic, and a good listener. So it empowers them to be able to empower their teams. And that is worth a lot of value to me.
Give me those again, please.
Relational,
Mm-hmm.
empathetic, authentic, and a good listener. You got to be real.
I love that. I love that. Um, do you feel like there's some of these four, there's some that are more natural to you versus a couple of the other ones, or one of the other ones?
Yeah, as a nurse myself, a nurse by trade, I'm naturally inclined toward empathy. It's something that I have had since I was born. I've always tried to help other people, put them first, understand what they're feeling, how I could best assist them. How can I partner with you to get you better? And this was even when I was a little girl. It's just something that was part of my makeup. And so going into the field of healthcare was a natural progression for me because of that high empathy rating in my life. But I feel that the thing that we really need to focus on more than ever as a community, as a nation, is this idea of relational connecting. Because people are so isolated nowadays, and they're doing life from home, through a screen. Amazon brings their groceries and all of their goods. They don't have to go anywhere. And so the human connection is something that can get lost through this idea of being efficient. And the challenge behind that is, like for even myself, I didn't know that I needed a hug. Like, until somebody comes up to you and gives you a hug, you're like, wow, that actually felt amazing. I didn't know that was something that was on my needs list, but it is. And having human connection and building relationships is what strengthens you and empowers you to go further faster, because we are better together. And when you can run a race with somebody else, pushing you along and running with you, running before you, running after you, all of that surrounds you and ensures that you're going to reach the finish line.
Yeah.
If you're running by yourself, it's easy to get tired. But when you have connections, you're empowered to see it to the end. And that's where people can really begin to experience life in abundance.
I love that. And I know for you, it's all rooted in your faith. And I think that is so important as well, and cannot be overlooked, right?
Absolutely. Isaiah 61 is my life banner. The Lord has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, to heal the oppressed, to set the captives free, to comfort those who mourn, and to bring beauty to ashes. And, there's two good days in your life, right? The day that you were born, and then the day that you realize why.
Yeah. I love that. The last time we connected, there were a couple of there was one new sort of coaching session that you were rolling out, but then there's a number of others that you do pretty, fairly consistently. Tell me what you're working on now, like some of the cohorts and some of the coaching, the different angles that you're taking right now with the folks that are part of your sort of leadership cohorts.
Yeah. So my heart is really, again, to equip nurse managers, nurse leaders, in that healthcare space. I've been a nurse for 24 years, serving both bedside and in leadership roles. My heart is really in patient experience. I've served as the director of patient experience, and I serve as patient experience advisor for many surgery centers, mostly because, patients are where my heart lies. And that comes from being a patient myself. But to answer the question, I think that there was something that's been missing in healthcare for a long time. And that really is building that mentorship and training for leaders to actually lead people. What happens is, you're functioning in your role, you're doing a great job. And next thing you know, you're promoted and you have a staff and a budget and all of these meetings and, all this accountability and responsibility that now you have to figure out. And the challenge with that is, you could probably muddle through for a little while, but how much more amazing could you be if you actually had some mentorship and some modeling and some coaching and some content to get you further faster? You probably would like your job more, be better at your job, more more able to train up other people to serve in greater capacities and begin to do this thing that means so much to us, is bringing real change into your workspace. You know, when you start something, you only know what you know. But as you're able to build your resources, to build your toolbox, to become better in these spaces, it helps you to feel valued in your role. It helps you to have a renewed passion for what you do, because now you're good at it. It's not as hard as it used to be. And rather than leaving people to figure it out and muddle through, and some people will succeed, but many people won't. You know, we want to equip people with the resources that they need to achieve their personal and professional goals. And so we do a variety of leadership cohorts. Right now, we're working on a leadership intensive that goes over things like how to build employee engagement, how to hire for fit, how to improve employee retention, how to coach and have accountability within your staff, how to have crucial conversations. You know, a lot of the leadership strategies that we find in Maxwell Leadership apply to every industry across the board. And being a good leader starts within. And that's where real change happens. It doesn't happen with, you helping somebody else, because you first have to help yourself. Once you're able to help yourself and start on your growth journey, you can help other people to grow. And that's where the magic happens. That's where real change happens. And that's where you begin to find your passion and purpose, because what you do matters.
Yeah, you're more connected to it, and you talk about being in the nursing field. You know, I've been in sort of a consultative sales for 15, 16 years, and there's so many similarities. You have this really good individual sort of performer, and they go, Jessica, you're the top salesperson. Here's your promotion, and here's your team of salespeople, and you're like, wait, what? And you take it because you feel like that's the obvious next step. You don't have the tools necessarily. You may not have the passion for it, or you may not understand how your skill set can translate into leadership, or you may feel like you know it all and have all these blind spots that you're just not you're not aware of. So now, as an organization, not only have I lost Jessica as an individual producer, an individual contributor, now I got a bad manager too. So now I've lost twice.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens over and over again, because we're missing the middle, right? We're trying to plug and play and check our boxes, but we have to realize that there's people behind those things. And our greatest asset is our people. A company is only a good company if they have good people. So why not invest in your people and help them to be awesome leaders? Because out of that, you get awesome teams. And out of that, you actually give amazing service. An amazing service builds your bottom line all the way around, but it starts at the top.
Yeah. And
it starts with you evaluating you and discerning, how can I best serve in this space?
I love that. I love that. So, it can't be overlooked. It can't be undervalued. We get so caught up in the day-to-day stuff. We our folks, the people that maybe report to us, the folks on the front line, the folks that are dealing with the people, they're the face of that company. And if they're not properly trained, if they don't have the tools, if they don't feel connected, they don't see how their contributions are contributing to the whole vision of that company, you're in trouble, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because, those people, they don't have the care that you're trying to brand, right? You have to build into your people so that they build into the customer. You're not going to have people rendering amazing care if they don't feel like they're cared for themselves. Right. And as a leader, it's more than just, this is the way, walk in it. Leaders partner with their staff. They help their staff to grow into what their dreams are, discern what their professional goals are. How are they growing and living out their dreams? What barriers were there today? What were the good things that happened today? What are some things that you feel like we can change? I always teach in our sessions the 5-5-5 rule. 5 minutes of personal talk. How was the basketball game yesterday? How are the kids? 5 minutes of professional talk where you're discerning, how are things on the unit today? How are things in the department today? Anything that you need to know as a leader. And then 5 minutes of like futuristic talking, which is, what are some things that we can do better? What are some processes that you feel are working well? Your people who are serving have the goal that you need to build your enterprise. And without including them in those conversations, you miss out on the things that could propel you further, faster, to make a difference in the workday of the people that are serving there. And having those conversations, to invest in them as people, to invest in them as professionals, and then to get their input so that they feel like they're adding value, that they're a part of the bigger picture, that what they say has meaning and weight. Okay, that's when they become engaged. That's when they become invested. And that's when they want to keep serving, right? That's how you create loyalty. It's through that connection, not just as a worker, what can you do for me, but how can I serve you? Who are you? Be real with me. And then as you're real with each other, you create something that works. And that's where teams start. They start with people being people and being genuine with each other and helping one another succeed. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. The 5-5-5 rule. We could talk about this stuff all day. I think maybe that may be the name of this episode, is the 5-5-5 rule. I like that a lot. And I think again, we have to start with the person in order to talk about anything else. We have to not just people have to know that we care. And if it's not genuine, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So she is the founder of Real Change RN Consulting, incredibly empathetic, and I feel like this very brilliant mind, really stripping down, bringing back values, bringing back simplicity, and putting people first. Jessica, thank you so much for your time today. This has been amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. This is my favorite stuff to talk about. People. I love people.
Yeah, and it's evident. To everyone who is listening or watching this, thank you. As always, please share this great conversation. Don't keep it to yourself. This is good stuff. And again, you all are capable. You just need to make sure you embrace your own frequency. Okay. So on behalf of Jessica, I am Baxter E. Hall. And until next time, peace.
Have a great day.
Welcome into his brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, share, and also hit that notification button as well. Thank you so much.
Financial literacy to authentic Black history. This real rap.